Let's talk all things property. Okay, we do so every single Monday. We talk property. And this time around, we're looking at what's happening in Southern Africa, particularly here in South Africa, with Cape Town's Golden Acre complex that is set for a major transformation following its recent acquisition by Putirex, a partnership that is led by developers Gracht and Roelof. Delport. All right, this redevelopment, as we understand it, is one that marks the next chapter for one of the city's most familiar landmarks. It's located at a very busy point, and we're going to look at it. We're going to look at how it has been known as a central hub for commuters. The Golden Acre will now undergo a large-scale upgrade, and that is basically going to convert it into something special. We're going to talk about what that something special is. Planning this project began in the previous year, as I understand. So 2024, with construction expected to start soon and finish by early 2027. This is a redevelopment that introduces more than 400 affordable rental units. Okay, I've kind of revealed what's going to be happening, but I'm not going to reveal anymore because we need to get a deeper understanding as to why this redevelopment is happening to begin with. On the line with me is Lesego Majatladi, Director at Gracht Asset Management, and we're going to talk about this project. Lesego, welcome to Channel Africa. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Let's talk about the history behind Cape Town's Golden Acre complex. I mentioned a little bit of its significance for commuters and residents. Yes, what else can you tell us about its significance at this time?
Historically, the Golden Acre has been at the epicenter of Cape Town CBD life. In its previous life, it was a commercial office tower, and then you obviously had the retail on the ground floor. And then the other big important component of the Golden Acre is the fact that it sits at the center of the public transport interchange for the city. So its neighbor is the Cape Town train station. Behind it is the Golden Era bus terminus, and next to the train station is the taxi rank. So in terms of public transport, there's always been this relationship between Golden Acre and public transport. And even if you spend time talking to people about Golden Acre, for a lot of people, it was their weekly Saturday outing destination. So it's always been at the core of social life in the Cape Town CBD.
Okay, there's my mic is on now. Okay, let's discuss the strategic vision then behind Putirex acquisition of the Golden Acre, and also how this then, or rather how this redevelopment aligns with the broader trends that we are seeing in Cape Town as it regenerates itself in the urban space, if you will.
A big challenge and a big criticism of developments in the city has been that there's a lack of accessible residential stock in the city. So there's all of this development happening, but there aren't enough people living in the city. And what we're trying to address with this development is to get to a point where there's a sizable number of young South Africans who can live and work in the city. Because when you look at the transport, the traffic challenges coming in and out of the city, we think that there's an opportunity for all of those people to not be driving in and out of the city every day, but for them to be living in the city.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Thanks for tuning in. If you started listening, we are talking about the Golden Acre complex situated in Cape Town and the major transformation that is currently underway, as put together by Putirex in partnership, led by developers Gary Moore as well as Roelof Delport. On the line with me is Lesego Majatladi, Director at Gracht Asset Management, and we're really unpacking the significance of this redevelopment. Let's take a break.
Zilipendwa na Abedi Jean de la Croix.
Leo tujadili kuhusu chipukizi wanaoimba nyimbo za wasanii wengine. Unadhani hili linatokana na nini, Omari?
Nadhani kweli kwamba tukizama muziki ya sasa, hasa wasanii ambao ni chipukizi, kwa kweli kwamba yani karibu kutoka muziki wao wenyewe, lakini wanakuwa wanataka kubiria muziki ya zamani na muziki ya nyingine ambayo ni hivyo.
Wengine wanadai kufanya hivyo ni kupromote vipaji vyao haraka ili waweze kujulikana. Je, yawezekana kukawa na ukweli wowote au ndio kukosa kabisa kipaji cha kuandika mistari?
Ndio, unaona kwamba msanii anapoazimia kwamba kuchukua wimbo mwingine wa msanii mwingine na kurudia yani mara mbili sivyo, haionyeshi kwamba yani ndio wanaanza kazi ya muziki aizalini, lakini ukiangalia kabisa asilimia kubwa utakuta kwamba wanakosa ile mawazo ya kutunga muziki.
Zilipendwa kila Jumamosi kuanzia saa 12 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati hadi saa 1 kamili majira ya Afrika ya Kati.
The G20 Summit through African eyes, live updates and expert voices only on Channel Africa. The Upside. On the Upside, your voice matters.
Welcome to the Upside, where we just create gateways for you to get a sense of what's happening on the African continent. And of course, on Mondays, we focus on property in the golden hour. We're looking at a redevelopment project that's taking place with the Golden Acre complex in Cape Town. On the line is Lesego Majatladi, who is joining me in his capacity as director at Gracht Asset Management. Lesego, you mentioned, getting people into the city, living, working, just functioning well in the city and not having to travel long distances, for example, to get to workplaces. Let's talk about how this project then is going to deliver the 400 affordable rental units, and also how you are, through this project, then redefining affordability. How do you define affordability? How do you measure that? What do you take into account for this particular makeover?
So in the city at the moment, and not just in the city, but just across the country, the government has implemented affordable housing initiatives, and in South Africa, we refer to those as RDP housing. So there is a solution for people who sit at the lower end of the market, and obviously then at the higher end of the market, you then have people who have the means to purchase assets, sometimes even for investment in the city. What we are addressing is what we refer to as the missing middle. There are young professionals who are into their first or second job, who have a substantial amount of earning power, substantial amount of disposable income, but not quite ready to go up the property ladder and acquire residential property. And so when we talk about affordability, that's who we are talking to. It's the young professional who's working at the city, or a young attorney working for a law firm in the city, or somebody working for a bank. So that's the missing middle that we want to talk to. And so when we talk about affordability, it is within that context.
Okay. And then also, the kinds of communal facilities. A lot of people, or at least, I live in Johannesburg, so there's a lot of that going on in Johannesburg with lifestyle amenities. People are looking for that in spaces that they'd like to move into, for example. So how is that being reflected in the shift, particularly in inner city living in Cape Town? Is that a thing there?
It's a big consideration for us, and it's a big focus for us. So what we've done is that we've appointed a company called Neighborgood, who will be the operator of the residential component of the development. Neighborgood have a sizable portfolio in Cape Town of properties that they own and manage. They've actually now started making inroads in the San Francisco market in the US. So that's who we've brought on board to handle the day-to-day operations of the residential component of the development. And what they focus a lot on is in creating that sense of community. So one of the big investments that we're making is in a community clubhouse, which has restaurant facility, has outdoor exercise facilities. We're looking at an outdoor cinema. We've got a gym that we're looking at also having on site. So the amenities beyond your front door are a big reason why people would want to look at staying with us. And so that's where a lot of effort is going into to make sure that it's a well curated experience. And also, I mean, in as much as you'll have a development of 400 plus units, it can be quite lonely moving into a space where you don't know anybody. So a big part of the work that Neighborhood will be doing is in creating this sense of community, a running club, a yoga club, a pizza night. So finding ways to create a real sense of community so that people don't just wake up in the morning, leave the building, come back in the evening, and don't interact with each other.
Right. I mean, you've literally thought of everything clearly, which is wonderful. But with construction expected to conclude in early 2027, what are the key milestones that you can tell us, and perhaps the potential challenges that you foresee in ensuring that the project maintains on schedule, or remains rather on schedule, and also in delivering, what you are planning on delivering in terms of the social and economic aspects of the project?
So I mean, the first hurdle has been to get the contractors on site, which has happened. So the building works in the tower have started. And that comes with its own challenges because you had tenants in the tower who are the office tenants that we had previously. So just getting, starting the work, but also not inconveniencing the people who are still actually working in the building has been a challenge, and one that we've overcome. The next hurdle is in the new year, where the work starts in the retail space. Now, there are two obvious stakeholders that one needs to look after. One is the existing pool of retail tenants who are in the center, and the second one is the commuters and the clients who come into the center itself. So keeping those people happy going into the new year will be the next big challenge. And then the other bit of work, which is a challenge and we are already involved in, is, for example, work with the last mile service providers, whether it's the scooters, whether it's your Uber Eats or your Woolies or your Take a Lot. There's a whole new economy that has now been created around that last mile sector, and we are now working with them to find a way to make it easy for them to come and collect whatever it is that they're collecting from the center, and not inconvenience pedestrians, for example, by parking on the pavement and giving them proper parking facilities. We're actually taking it further and creating a facility for them on site so that they have a place to charge their phones, they have a place to rest in between shifts. There are ablution facilities, so showers, etc., for them. So that's a project that we're starting and actually have a meeting on tomorrow. And then the last bit of work that we're doing is just the neighborhood itself. We, like I said earlier, are at the center of this public transport interchange. So starting to do work with cleaning up the bus terminus, access into the center from the taxi rank. So there's a bit of work that has been done there with all the stakeholders in the neighborhood. So those are the kind of main challenges beyond the day-to-day niggles. But I'm fairly confident in the team that we have, and that we will be able to meet our commitments to have both the residential and the retail done on schedule.
Right. Well, it sounds like you're on the right track. I think also just looking at spaces of urbanization and Cape Town being one of the leaders, Cape Town with the Central Business District really leading innovation, technology, and what smart cities could possibly look like in the future. But I think this is definitely a fine example of that. We can't wait to possibly visit Cape Town and visit a whole new Golden Acre complex that is currently under transformation. Lesego, thank you very much for the time and all the best with the project. Hey.
Thank you so much. Look forward to hosting you when it's all put together and you get to experience a reimagined Golden Acre.
Absolutely. Cannot wait for that. That is Lesego Majatladi joining me in his capacity as director at Gracht Asset Management. And we're talking about one of Cape Town's most iconic large-scale complexes, if you will. It's been in existence since 1979 and currently going through what do we call it? A facelift, if you will. Okay, and this is a project that is going to conclude in the year 2027.